Mic check. Mic.
Yeah. It is Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free and join us on the radio if you want. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, some news about Donald Trump and his opinions about North Korea. What after the failed talks that they recently attempted within the last month. And Vincent's got that story. By the way, in the studio tonight, it is Ian here.
It's Vincent.
And Rich Poe.
All right. So we're going to start out with a story that I brought in last night, but we didn't get a chance to get to it. And since you're here, Rich, I think it's an important time to talk about this one. We're all big fans of ending the war on drugs and specifically the war on cannabis. Mm-hmm. But as that process goes along, and we are certainly further now than in our lifetimes as far as the legal status of cannabis, it's, I think, legal in at least 8 states right now.
Not me. I was born in 68, so...
They had prohibition in 68. The war on drugs didn't start.
But the real ramp up didn't start until 72.
True.
So, well, I don't think there actually were legal states then, even then. So I guess you could say that
it was prohibited
all over the country is overall the country's better.
Yeah, it's better off now with, I think, 8 states that have legalized it, plus Washington, D.C. as well. If my count's off on that, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, it all depends on how you define legalize, how you define
for recreational.
Decriminalize. And
No, I mean for recreational. If you include all the medical
sure
states.
That, like 28 states have liberalized their marijuana laws in one way or another. Maybe
there are
it's
at least
26 or 28.
There are at least, I think, 36 that have gone medical, if I'm not mistaken.
Then,
and then decrim.
Then that's progress since last I heard.
So, but, despite all the good news out there, the prohibitionists are going to keep up their mantra. They're going to keep up all the old claims, all the long disproved false, BS claims about cannabis. And so we turn to the...
But it's a gateway drug.
It's being weaponized by George Soros to turn U.S. teenagers into zombies.
That's, no, wait, isn't that Alex Jones?
Are you talking about the mainstream media?
Well, yeah, it's many things.
Isn't that an impression of Alex Jones? And doesn't he actually smoke marijuana?
Well, he changed it. He used to say, I don't smoke marijuana. Now he says, I don't smoke marijuana very often, just with Joe.
Just with Joe Rogan.
No, I don't drink anymore. I don't drink any less either.
So we turn to the New York Post and their opinion piece by former Lieutenant Governor of New York, which, of course, is one of the worst states in the Union, the least free of all the 50 states. So what does former Lieutenant Governor Betsy McConaughey have to say about it? In her piece, stop ignoring the brutal downside of legal pot. I'm ready to hear the brutal downside of legal pot, because I've never heard that claim before. Brutal. Brutal. Politicians, she says.
We keep kind of upping the ante for the clickbait, so they just go through a thesaurus.
Yeah.
They're pushing to legalize recreational marijuana in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and following 10 other states. Okay, apparently it's up to 10 now. The Parent-Teacher Association, local health officials, and pediatricians are pushing back, warning about the permanent damage to youngsters' brains caused by weed. If you have children, trust the PTA, not the Pauls. Legalization delivers what politicians want most, money and power. They're salivating over the tax revenue and the authority to dole out licenses to growers and retailers. New Jersey will tax cannabis growers $42 an ounce. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy pledged to make weed legal right after taking office, but he dragged his feet until the legislation guaranteed gubernatorial control over licensing and enforcement. New Jersey lawmakers will vote on the proposal next week. In New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo initially promised that legalizing weed would be included in the state budget due later this month. Now political infighting is delaying it. Cuomo wants to control the regulatory apparatus himself, while state lawmakers want to have a hand in the pot, so to speak. New York plans to tax cannabis products at 22%. The Citizens Budget Commission says revenues should be, quote, transparently dispersed and utilized for general state operating purposes. In your dreams, she says. Pauls are already, I think that means political people, Pauls.
Jake politicians.
Politicians.
Okay, because I was going to say, why are they picking on my family?
Right? Spelled P-O-L-S. Politicians
Polls,
are already squabbling over how to divvy up the dough. Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes of Buffalo wants the money to go to minority communities, which she claims have been unfairly targeted by anti-drug laws. That's a legitimate grievance. In the past, African Americans were more likely to be arrested for weed-related crimes than whites were, despite using it at similar rates. But legislation, or rather legalization, doesn't protect young people, black, white, or others, from injury to their still developing brains or the long-term effects of weed-caused school failure.
Wow.
You ever heard of that, Rich? Weed-caused school failure.
Weed-caused school failure. I mean, certainly I would suspect that there is going to be a correlation between teenagers that fail in school and teenagers that smoke weed. I don't think that it's... and I think that'll come from common causation. If you are sufficiently hard of caring that you're failing in school, you're probably also not going to see any reason not to smoke weed.
Sure.
You're obviously not really into doing what other people are telling you to do right now. So I'm not surprised to see a correlation. And the other thing is, doing badly in school is painful, and people in pain tend to self-medicate. So I would suspect that you would find a statistical correlation between marijuana use and every single possible negative circumstance of your life. But that doesn't mean that the marijuana is causing the negative circumstances. It
Correct.
means that people with negative circumstances self-medicate.
Well, and like in my experience, I remember back in high school, some of the biggest losers were also like the biggest potheads, like the kind of guys who would just they'd wear something called like a drug rug or poncho, and they would show up to class.
Rich had one of those on the other day.
I'm not making a comment. Those are comfy, but they would like show up to class just stinking of weed, and they ended up failing. While everyone else,
you're describing me so far.
But I'm talking about these are like 16, 17, 15-year-old kids, and then everyone else, right? Like I guess we'll quote successful people and started smoking in college. So I wouldn't doubt that there's some sort of correlation about what she's saying about the brain development for people who start younger compared to people who start older. But I don't have the science.
See, I don't know. I mean, when I best fit that description was probably when I was 16, and my best friend in those days was a guy named Jim, and Jim and I both went on to be high-powered computer programmers. So I don't think there was a lot of brain damage in between. Now, I stopped smoking weed when I was 18 and didn't start again until I was 40. But Jim smoked weed off and on at least throughout his career, and seemed none the worse for it. So, the thing is, I mean, I know what you're talking about that image and that hard of caring kind of nonchalance about life. But I don't think that is a result of taking the drug.
But weed is rather, it's a symptom of it, rather, you mean?
Well, exactly. It's exactly. And one of the things that people are looking for at that age is a place to fit in. So if there's a group of burnouts, if you will, why do they dress that way? Well, they dress that way so they can be recognized by the kind of people that they want to hang out with, just like punk rockers, just like emos, just like any other clique. So I don't think you can necessarily associate the style of the clique directly back to the drug and say they dress this way because, they got high and suddenly thought this looked good, because they bought the stuff, at some point. So it wasn't just, smoke some weed. I gotta wear this stuff.
While the people who might be described as losers, for instance, are more likely to kind of wear it on their sleeve, the thing is, you won't see the people who are dressed in suits, the successful people who are smoking cannabis regularly.
Other thing is, call them losers, but I got more tail than I did as a computer geek.
There's more coming up here at 8:55, 450, free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live. Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free if you want to join us here. The number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can also join us on our website over at freetalklive.com, where you can enjoy the features there, like our Discord server, where people are hanging out during, before, and after the show. It's basically there for you 24 hours a day. So head over to discord.lrn.fm. You can link up with other Free Talk Live listeners right there. That's discord.lrn.fm. Plus, there's a couple of on-air, actually there's 4 on-air call-in lines on that Discord server. You just hop into one of those rooms, and we'll see you there and join you. And we're actually going to go to those lines here in just a moment. But first, we go to the phones where Peter is on the line, calling from the D.C. area. Peter, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Vincent, and Rich Paul.
Hey, guys. I actually called, I think it was like a month and a half ago, about me being deep in student loan debt. I go to currently the Catholic University of America, where I'm about to finish in about a month and a half. And you told me to follow up if anything happens. And so, yeah, I'm calling up because I actually, I'm happy to say that I've been accepted into George Mason University's Master's Economics program.
Congratulations.
However, thank you. But the Mercator Center, which is like the a free market so-called think tank, they're actually paying for my degree. So
really?
I have no worries. Which is pretty cool.
Congrats. That's a big deal.
So I'm not. Yeah, thank you. So I'm not really too concerned about my debt. However, I do think that our economy will soon be in a recession, and I think that they're going to blame this on Trump because Trump is so-called pro-free market. He's anti-regulation, and so I think the left, what they're going to do is say, well, here. It just comes to show that this is what capitalism does. And, of course, we know that we don't have
Well, Trump's not pro-free market.
Yeah, I was going to say, the reason that we're recessing right now is largely the Trump tariffs. So when the left blames Trump, they won't be wrong. But if you look at the beginning of Trump, before he put those in office, we had unprecedented economic growth and we had unprecedented low unemployment.
Well, but he's painted as such by by some of his opposition, also by himself. Like at the State of the Union,
painted as free market. You mean?
Oh yeah. That's what he calls himself. Like at the State of the
Trump
Union,
has the best enemies.
At the State of the Union,
very
he
best
said
enemies.
that the country was in like a battle against socialism or something. So he's putting up that dichotomy there.
No,
I agree with a caller. I agree 100% with a caller. If we're going to blame it on the free market and they're going to use that to just steamroll socialism into the system.
Yeah, well, nothing Trump does can be blamed on the free market because Trump has been anti-free market in several ways. His budget is bigger than the budget of Obama, okay? No, he has not cut spending by one dime. He has pumped it up. So thanks, Republicans, for lubing at us.
Once again.
Lubing us up.
Once again. This isn't the first time because Republicans were in charge during Bush, too.
Bush Senior, read my lips, no new taxes. And it's what they call like crony capitalism, or as I call it, crapitalism. That's what name. That's what they call the free market.
I call it corporatism, but that's good.
Same 6 to 1, half dozen the other.
Because I would say the first major deviation from a true free market, not everybody will agree with me on this, but I would say that the first deviation is just the creation of corporations in the first place with limited liability. Corporations are a vehicle by which people escape liability for the consequences of their actions. So why do they even exist?
To protect the wealthy and the politically connected.
From the consequences of their own action. That's why I say I don't have a problem with taxing corporations. If they imposed a fair tax and imposed it only on corporations, I'd be down.
Peter, other comments, thoughts? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think that it's the Federal Reserve that ultimately is going to cause this crisis by just trying to satisfy the markets and not really pay attention to fundamentals like excessive debt and just tremendous credit expansion that we've had from essentially the bailouts from 2009 till now. And like you guys were talking about, we have Donald Trump just piling up debt and deficits. And so I think that the left is really going to just target the wrong thing. And like you guys were saying, they're going to target Trump and his free market, so-called free market agenda. Nevertheless, that's where I'm going to take advantage of my already expensive student loans, because I really do think that the left is going to advocate student loan relief programs to really attract.
That'll win some votes. Yep, that'll win some votes for sure.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, that's just my strategy. And again, thank you for having me on your program.
Peter, good luck with the college thing. Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. By the way, since he was talking about debt, I saw this headline recently. U.S. credit card debt closed 2018 at a record $870 billion. It has never been as high as that.
Wow. See, what I predict from that, there's two ways that they can go. They can either print out enough money to inflate the currency enough to make that debt payable by stimulating larger dollar amounts in the economy. Mm-hmm. Or, because, every time you inflate, debt shrinks.
Sure.
The other possibility is there's going to be an economic bubble burst, because eventually these credit card companies are going to be insolvent, just like the mortgage companies were, but they can't you can't repossess the toaster somebody bought with your Visa card.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It's not how any of this works. Yeah. There's some things that can be repossessed by credit card companies, but I think it's pretty rare that they do it. They certainly didn't come for the hundreds of cartons of cigarettes that I racked up on my when I exited the market. I racked up like $10,000 in credit card.
Wait, when you exited the market? What do you mean?
When I left South Carolina, when I stopped working as a computer programmer. I had like $20,000 worth of credit line on credit cards. So I was buying cigarettes in South Carolina and selling them for cash in Michigan.
Sweet.
And then when the credit cards companies called me, I just said, well, the federal government already jacked me and gave you my money. So that's all you're going to get from me. Go do something I can't say on the air.
So does that mean your credit score is in the toilet right now?
It was. That was more than a decade ago, though. It's back.
So it's back.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. All right, let's continue with your calls and thoughts here. We go to Free Market Penguin on the line on Discord. Go ahead.
Hey, guys, I wanted to talk about something that was on my mind in regards to libertarianism. So on Monday, in the aftermath of the tragedy in New Zealand, I was at my local mosque, masjid, my place of worship, and mostly acting as in my capacity as a security guard at an interfaith vigil service we had there, and a lot I can say about that. Basically, a lot of people turned out. It was a great message, just a message of support and love throughout the community that we had after the synagogue shooting as well in Philadelphia, and just all kinds of different people, rabbis and different faith leaders expressing their support, and very well intended. And
stand
one thing I
by.
noticed,
We'll let you tell the rest of the story here in just a moment. That is Free Market Penguin, one of our Muslim listeners. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free to take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com, the brand new website from the folks over at AnyPay, which we've been talking about for quite a while here on Free Talk Live. Even before we teamed up with them officially, I was a huge fan of AnyPay. I'm so glad that Free Talk Live gets to help them get better and get more clients on board, because AnyPay makes it easy for you as a business owner or manager to accept cryptocurrency at your point of sale. So you want to accept Bitcoin or Dash, Zcash, Bitcoin Cash, and others? Well, AnyPay.global can make that possible. But their new website is helpmetakebitcoin.com. You go right there, and they've got a simple, I think 4-step process basically to get rolling, and that includes the step of installing your own cryptocurrency wallet. So if you've already got one of those, you're already one step of the way done. Go to anypay.global or their new site, helpmetakebitcoin.com. That's a good one if you want to just share it with a friend as well. Maybe you know somebody who is a merchant. They got a real life business, a brick and mortar location, and you want to help them take Bitcoin. Just send them over to helpmetakebitcoin.com. As we continue, we will take your calls and thoughts. In fact, we were talking with Free Market Penguin there in Virginia. You attend a mosque there, and this week you were telling us about an interfaith event where people from the community at large were welcomed. You mentioned rabbis and others. Do you know which religions were represented there?
Definitely Jewish and Christian, and I'm sure non-denominational and other people from the city and university. Gotcha. And local schools. Yeah.
So what else did you want to tell us about it?
And I noticed, as just kind of noticing people that some of the youngsters, some of the young ladies had, the only political thing I noticed in the whole thing is some ladies had DSA stickers on their, not stickers, pins on their backpacks. Democratic, I guess that's the Democratic Socialists of America.
It is. In fact, Vincent's got news about them. If you want to pull that up, Vincent, we'll get into it here. But go ahead. What about them?
And it's not surprising that people that would attend that kind of event would lean left, to some extent. And they certainly did, including the religious leaders. But it would be nice if libertarianism had a representation in that kind of, outreach, that kind of displays of tolerance and
well, you were there,
and cooperation. And instead, what we typically see with right-wing libertarianism certainly is kind of the vast majority of times that I hear, and this is not coming from necessarily the people that really introduced me to liberty, but the vast majority of the time I hear from about minority groups and different kind of minority and vulnerable groups is really kind of negativity, disparaging, and just this outright hostility to these kind of issues. And I think that doesn't really represent liberty. I understand the resentment.
You're saying, hold on. You're saying libertarians are hostile to the issue of being, active in the community, or I'm not sure what the issue is that you're saying they're hostile to.
Any kind of talk of race, minorities, different immigrants, different sorts of kind of cooperation, understanding, tolerance in the community. It's always, and I understand it stems from mostly a resentment that the government does try to exert its influence to centrally plan our social relations with each other. And I totally get where it comes from, but how it manifests itself is that the right-wing libertarians certainly tend to, the vast majority of the time when they mention minorities and certain issues in our society, instead of kind of saying it from a liberty perspective that kind of promotes, a more diverse worldview, it's kind of more of a hostility to.
Well, I think I understand what you're saying there, but that's basically the difference between. I mean, if somebody's support is on the left because they support government redistribution of property or something, they're not libertarians at all. So to me, a left libertarian is a libertarian with kind of left-leaning social views, and a right libertarian is a libertarian with kind of right-leaning social views, but they both have the same policy prescriptions, because although libertarians do believe in tolerance, we don't believe in forced acceptance, okay? And the difference between tolerance and acceptance, I learned this in AA, the difference between tolerance and acceptance is tolerance is when you don't act against something. Mm-hmm. Acceptance is when you see it as being right and proper and the way it should be. So if I tolerate gay people, then you can be gay. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to, I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm not going to drive you out of the space. Mm-hmm. but you may not accept those people and say, I'm going to welcome you into my home, or I'm going to bake a cake celebrating a gay marriage. And so the left makes no separation between tolerance and acceptance in general, and that I think is a problematic piece.
Maybe, but you're talking about that's problematic for the left. What he's saying here is that he believes it's problematic that libertarians are you're saying they're non-accepting? Right. Is that what you're saying, Free Market Penguin, that they're non-accepting to people of different religions or people?
I think that, no, I'm not actually. Actually, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm saying that the messaging tends to be very negative when these issues are brought up for the reasons I kind of speculate.
The issue of someone slaughtering innocent people? Is that what issue?
No, the issue that they resent the government kind of trying to control people's relations with each other, interactions.
Okay. I'm sorry if I feel a little lost here. I thought we were talking about this interfaith vigil that happened in Virginia, and that you were complaining that libertarians weren't on the right side of supporting that.
No, I say they don't have good messaging when it comes to issues of minority groups and cooperation and tolerance. That it tends to be a very kind of resentful and hostile message.
Is this something? Hold on, before you go on, I'm
just trying to come up in society.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a grasp of what you're saying here. Now, are you saying this is on a national level, or are you saying you're seeing this locally in Virginia where you live with the local libertarians?
I'm just saying in all forms of media and just discussion, really.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't see that.
I don't feel like you're like that here.
I'm a racial minority. I identify as human. I'm not white. People think I'm white. They misracially identify me, but actually I'm just human.
So you're saying you're in a minority because you're human? That would put you in the majority, wouldn't it?
Well, because I'm only human. I'm race free.
Right, I love that.
I've resigned from having a race. I call myself a transracial human.
Mark has also done that. I think it's a smart thing to do.
I'm bisexual. I'm polyamorous. I'm kinky. So that puts me in like 3 different minority.
What do you mark when you're filling out like a DMV form or something and it asks for your race? Do you put like other
and I write in human?
Good.
Well, Rich, you sound like one of these these privileged white males who want to appropriate minority status, and I find that contemptible and sickening.
Okay.
Obviously, if a white male wants to be attention, always wants to be the center of attention.
You mean he's human?
I mean, I would love to get to Rich.
Everybody
Rich's
likes to be the
point.
I attack Rich for being white, and Ian doesn't kick me off. That's fair.
Yeah. And to
clearly trolling.
To me, that's how I was raised, because my father is full-blooded Armenian, and both of his parents fled the Armenian genocide in 1915. And basically everybody in their family was killed. They were teenagers. They showed up in New York City, not speaking the language, and eventually met each other and married here. And the Armenians, if you didn't know, were massacred by the Turks. There were 1.5 million Armenians at the beginning, and they killed 1 million of them.
But Cenk Uygur said that was a conspiracy.
And I'll get to the punchline as soon as we get back.
All right. You know what, Free Market Penguin, I think this is an interesting discussion. You're welcome to stay if you want to continue it. We will do that here in moments, because I don't think he's necessarily wrong when it comes to some libertarians, but I don't think we qualify for those comments. I think we're pretty accepting here on Free Talk Live. We've got gay co-hosts, for instance.
Yeah. There are racist libertarians, but libertarianism is not racist.
It is Free Talk Live. You're invited here if you want to join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms as well over at discord.lrn.fm. Jump into one of those. We'll get you on the air with us. In fact, that's what we're going to go back to here shortly. But I do want to let you know about liberty.menu. If you're an individual who rejects the initiation of force and you agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, then you belong over at liberty.menu. It is, at its core, a directory for events, businesses, and digital content creators. Whatever it is that you do that you want other libertarian or liberty types to know about, this is where you can put it. It's basically a global map of Liberty businesses and, again, digital content creators and all that. Go to liberty.menu and you can get started there. It's totally free to put your stuff up there. So unless you don't want some free publicity and exposure, then get on over there to liberty.menu as we continue. Ian, Vincent, and Rich in the studio tonight. Free Market Penguin is still with us. Asked him to hang on to continue this discussion because I'm curious, to expound on it a little bit. You were, I guess, talking about your interpretation of libertarians generally, that they don't seem to be particularly, would you say the word is tolerant or accepting? Rich made an interesting distinction between the two earlier tonight. How would you describe these folks?
Actually, neither, and it's a huge generalization. What I'm kind of saying is that there seems to be no place in libertarian messaging for this kind of attitude. So when minority issues or minorities come up, and I totally understand that not issues that are very, right in the forefront of libertarian discussion, but when these issues come up, it seems to me that the attitude taken towards minority groups seems to be overwhelmingly, when they're brought up, negative and disparaging.
Huh.
Well,
it's just.
I
just
disagree with that, but here's what I would submit. When a minority group asks for special treatment because they're women, because they're black, because they're gay, because they're whatever, the libertarian it responds to them exactly the way they would respond to people who wanted special treatment because they were men or because they were straight or because they were white. We don't care if you're a minority group or a majority group. We believe in human rights, not group rights. Okay? So anytime you say to me, I should get special treatment because I'm blah, 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 I'm going to say, I don't care. I'm not going to treat you differently because you're black. I'm not going to treat you differently because you're white. I'm going to treat you
I
as
might treat you
human.
differently because you're black. If a black guy showed up in Keene, I'd be like, thank you so much for coming here.
I mean, yeah, there's on a personal level, I might, given a choice between two equal job candidates, I might well hire the minority on the thought that maybe the next guy would discriminate against him. But
just because the
to
libertarians
make that public policy, you're literally creating privilege.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on the public policy aspect. I was just commenting on how there's this lack of diversity in the libertarian movement for whatever reason. It seems to be highly white male compared to even women or blacks or anybody else. And I agree with you, Rich. We should all be humans, and we all are humans, and we ought to reject judging anyone based on the color of their skin. That said, I got to say I don't necessarily share your viewpoint, Free Market Penguin. At least it's not been my experience with libertarians. They've always been welcoming towards everybody, no matter what the color of their skin or their gender. I haven't had that experience.
Especially now, because a lot of the racists who called themselves libertarians are Trumpsters now. So they've jumped ship, and good riddance to them.
What were you saying? Nail on the head? What now?
Yeah, I'm really talking about more of a messaging thing. So when the message when these issues come up, as they do in political discussion and in discussion of events in general, and the messaging is, I mean, obviously we all know, we agree as libertarians that we want so peaceful and good solution, freedom-oriented solutions. We don't want government solutions, and but when we message that out, it just seems to be like this pretty awful PR, which leads to this overwhelmingly dominance of this one group in
what I'd like to invite you to do is to, when you see this happening, bring it up specifically, because I mean it's hard to really comment on something that is just a general feeling that you have based on whatever experiences that you've had. I certainly don't want to deny that you've had these experiences.
They're not my experience. It's just messaging.
Okay, but you're talking about messaging.
Okay, well, can you give us an instance where the Libertarian Party has maybe in something official had bad messaging.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Or,
Like, obviously, you've seen this
is
message.
there
Talking
a
about
particular
libertarians,
person that you've seen say these things?
Yeah, so obviously you've seen things that I haven't seen. I don't pay any attention to the Libertarian Party's press releases. I don't know what it is that they're saying or how intolerant that they're being or cold or whatever. So I'd be more curious to see.
Well, he's talking about libertarians. I don't know what the LP has anything to do with it.
Yeah, correct.
But they're the ones who are doing a lot of messaging, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm implying for not libertarian. That was the joke.
Yeah, no, I see
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
But
it would have been funny if they weren't.
But you're not just talking about the Libertarian Party, then. You're talking about libertarians in general just communicating as individuals, or are you talking about as like an organization with press releases and that kind of thing?
No, I'm talking about libertarian people in general. And what I'm basically saying is instead of basically responding negatively or sarcastically to when these issues of minority groups and minority rights and racial hierarchies are brought up, kind of instead of reacting in a negative or angry or sarcastic way that I often kind of see in general, but to react in a positive way that directs it towards freedom and liberty and taking other groups into consideration, which is hard when those groups aren't already included within the liberty community because of just
well, they're certainly welcome.
That's the challenge.
Now, are you saying that now Free Talk Live is obviously a messaging platform for libertarianism? Are you saying this applies to this show?
None of the main hosts. I mean, you guys, especially you, Ian, has really got to bring me to liberty in the show. And I've always seen a very good example in you specifically, and
well, because I don't think our co-hosts are particularly intolerant or rude or doing bad messaging.
But he's gone.
He's not a host.
That reason.
He's not a Free Talk Live host.
And
he was fine.
There's a bit of sarcasm when it comes to these issues, and I think when it comes to actually engaging with these non-libertarians, and to try to kind of spread the ideas of liberty, I think people could take a more positive approach when kind of discussing these issues.
I agree that libertarians should get out in the community more often and get out from behind their
keyboards.
Their keyboards. I totally agree with that. I thank you for the call tonight, Free Market Penguin. Appreciate the discussion.
Absolutely.
And give us a specific example if you come across it, because I'd be interested in kind of just seeing a more specific example of this discussion. I'm not denying that it's true. I think that's definitely probably true of the more right-wing sort of the former conservatives who've become libertarian. I can see that being the case. But at least here in Keene, New Hampshire, where a bunch of liberty-minded folks have migrated to, like you and I, Rich, we had Will Coley living here for a while, who is a Muslim. And he opened a mosque. Unfortunately, he had to leave a couple of months ago due to an ailing father down in Florida, and we're hoping that he'll come back sooner rather than later. But Will put together a community picnic kind of thing, like a cookout kind of event for people in the community, just not just libertarians, not just Muslims, but invited everybody, including city councilors and other community members to this event. And kind of like what Free Market Penguin was pointing out about the mosque event that he attended, it was attended mostly by lefties. However, here we had a good libertarian contingent that was attending that particular event. Now, you can argue that's because we had a guy who is a libertarian who was the imam. But that said, we were there nonetheless. And so I think that it may depend on the kind of libertarians you're hanging out with. Maybe the group of people that has moved here to New Hampshire would be more welcoming and more open-minded, so to speak, less likely to be critical of people because they're different.
I think so. But the other thing is that libertarians tend to have a disdain for political correctness. Mm-hmm. Like, I am right there with Jordan Peterson that I use preferred pronouns for transsexuals, and I will continue doing so unless and until they legally require that I do so. And as soon as they legally require that I do so, then I'm going to stop respecting pronoun requests.
Fair enough. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That tends to be how I, respond to being forced to do something, is I tend to just do the opposite.
Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, more coming up. This is Free Talk Live. Hour 2 is next.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the second hour of the program. You can dial in toll-free to bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you here tonight, you've got Ian.
Yeah, I got Vincent.
And Rich Paul, Pope Indigent the First.
Also, coming up later tonight, we're going to do a after show, as we like to call it, Freer Talk Live, because we don't have the pesky FCC getting in the way of the things that we might want to say on the air. That'll be tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, just after the radio show version of Free Talk Live ends. We will continue as an after show with no FCC censorship on the Twitch platform. So we'll be exclusively on Twitch over at twitch.lrn.fm. Make sure you go follow our channel there. That's twitch.lrn.fm. That is our video streaming platform, our primary video streaming platform. We're on YouTube, but the after show will not be on YouTube. It's only on Twitch. So once again, twitch.lrn.fm. We go back to the phones, to the fun. Coming up, we still got to get to the Trump, North Korea update that you've got, Vincent. Plus, somebody brought up the DSA last hour, and you had a story about that as well. The Democratic Socialists of America, I think is what that stands for. So, yeah, we'll get into that too. But let's go first to Gia on the line in California. Gia, you're on Free Talk Live.
Well, hi, if it isn't my favorite three cis white evil pieces of garbage, Rich, Vincent, and Ian. How are you queens tonight?
Kiss, kiss.
Oh, yes, to you too, girl. Did you get your girdle on okay there, Rich, or were you too high too, girl?
Oh, don't start with me, girlfriend. I got the book on you.
Oh, sweet. Okay, we'll go at it later, Richie. Don't worry, honey. Listen, remember,
don't threaten me with a good time.
I will. I won't say that word, but I will. Listen, first of all, castrate Christopher Cantwell. I am an Antifa member, a trans woman.
Is this a new movement? Castrate Christopher Cantwell?
It's very alliterative.
It is alliterative, yeah.
Yes,
okay, nothing that requires me to handle Chris's nuts is even on the table. Not even on the table. You gotta, I
bet Gia would do it. She'd probably volunteer.
If you do it, I won't stop you. I mean, he's. Well, I wrote him off when he went Nazi. But
I understand. Listen,
I'm not going to do it.
Okay, I know you're busy. I have 4 points as to how evil, cis, straight, white pieces of garbage, such as yourselves, can atone for your atrocities to people of color and trans women such as me. Would you like to hear them really quickly?
Let's hear it, although I don't agree with your assessment, but go ahead.
I think your assessment is atrocious,
Thank
but go ahead.
Thank you. And by the way, that previous caller was right. Minorities and people of color don't have to have specific examples, honey. They just have to exist, and scum like you white, straight garbage bags have to exist. So here we go.
You don't know if I'm white or not.
Did you just
says the nervous white man, nervous about being called racist and trying to
Did you just assume my gender?
You look like Derek Vineyard did not shave his head, honey. Okay.
Oh, so now we're body shaming.
American History X, that was amazing. That was Edward Norton's character.
Not you, honey.
All bodies are beautiful, sweetheart.
Okay, listen. Let me get through these, and I'll get off here.
Okay.
Okay.
Just don't splash it on me.
Number one. Thank you.
You got to pay for that.
Real quick. Number one. Thank you. White straight cis men apologize for their existence. Number 2.
Okay, that's never happened here.
Cis men Okay, well,
these are her demands.
Oh, I thought you were saying we are supposed to apologize. Okay, that we did.
No, this is what we have to do to make up for being white.
Okay, gotcha.
And straight cis men, pieces of garbage.
It gets worse. I'll be done quickly. It gets worse, so thank you for your time. Holy we go.
I'm only mostly straight, by the way.
No, white straight cis men voluntarily castrate themselves. This could be chemical or physical, like Depo-Provera for the pedophiles, so we don't have to. So
they use Depo-Provera on males? Is that a thing?
We can use that on you guys. Yeah, you need it.
No, but is that a thing? Depo-Provera? That's like a female birth control shot. I didn't know they use that on men for castration. Is that a thing?
Oh, well, it might be, but back in
you don't know.
Justice,
gotcha.
That would deprive the women of the world of so much joy, though. I think that's an anti-woman proposal.
Right, sure.
Well, it's very chauvinistic of you, Rich.
I mean, really, if you look at supply and demand, if you want to make things better for women, you have to increase the supply of available men. And if you want to make things better for men, you have to increase the supply of available women.
No. There's robots now, Rich. I don't know if you've heard.
Yeah. I hang with hankers. One of them would play a practical joke on me and rip my dick.
LRN.FM.
I thought I could say that. Sorry, bro.
No.
Ian, could I get through 3 and 4 real quickly, please?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you, hon. Okay, for an evil straight cis piece of dog garbage, you're okay. So listen, 3.
Do dogs make garbage?
Cis men like young Vincent there, scumbag, surrender all property, communication, and transportation to their local people of color and LGBTQ minorities, which is very fair. And number 4, white straight cis men kill themselves. So what do you girls think about that?
Give up all your property and kill yourself.
In what order do you want all of that to happen in?
In the exact order that I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Jim.
Pizza, honey.
Appreciate it. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Yeah, I don't think I owe anybody anything by virtue of the fact that my mother pushed me out of her womb with this particular configuration. I just don't buy that.
Yeah.
Well, but it's because you as both of you as white men or just whites in general are profiting, right? You're profiting off of the institutionalized racism that was established through slavery, which made America the richest country in the world, and that's why the U.S. is advanced, because they use slavery.
See, that's how public schools teach American history.
Actually, I learned that from Michael Moore.
The actual thing is, slavery was such a detriment to the economy where it was practiced that it made it impossible for the South to defend itself, because they had no industrial plant, because they were living in some sort of nightmarish feudalist fantasy, and not capitalism.
No, absolutely. Yeah, obviously I'm being sarcastic. But yeah, in Bowling for Columbine, during the cartoon segment, that's what they said. We're like, what was it? He had like some South Park imitator on there, and it was like, was the white man used guns to institute slavery, which made America the richest country in the world. And I was watching it with my father, and he like almost threw the remote at the TV. And it was like, it was Michael Moore's attempt to tie gun ownership to racism.
Wow.
We continue. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. Let's go to Ron in New York, also on our Discord call-in lines. Go ahead, Ron.
Hi.
Hey.
Yang Gang, 2020.
Who?
But,
the Yang Gang.
Yang Gang.
What's this all about?
So there's this guy who's actually like from right around here in New York, who's a Democratic candidate for president. He's an entrepreneur named Andrew Yang. And he's proposing universal basic income, for those who don't know, which would mean that he would give everybody $1,000 a month. But it's this big meme, and all these libertarians are like sarcastically supporting him.
Why?
Because his ideas are so unlibertarian.
Well, he's not a libertarian, right? He's a Democrat.
No, he's not a libertarian. And one of the things.
So why would a libertarian be sarcastically supporting him?
Well, sarcastically supporting somebody, to me, is putting out things that are basically, they look like pro Yang propaganda at first glance, but the arguments are made badly. Things are misspelled. I used to have an account on Red State called American Hero, where I played this, being the idiot neocon.
I see, like the guy with a Moran sign.
Yes,
like that.
Yes, that's the guy.
Okay. So you're talking about libertarians. They're online. They're posting memes about this Yang guy.
Yeah,
what's the point, though? Like, what? I mean, is it just for the lulz? It's for the lulz. They're laughing
for the lulz and to discredit his argument.
All right, stand by.
I've been talking
here.
about this on QA for the past 2 weeks, so I'm surprised, Ian, you're
Well, I have to ask for people that don't, that are out there. I know you talked about it last night on your show, but not everybody listening to us right now is aware of that. So, more coming up here, 855 450 free. We'll find out about this Yang character, and it's Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. Bring up whatever you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. You can get interactive there with other Free Talk Live listeners anytime that you want. And I also want to make sure that you know about what we're doing over at Twitch. Right now, we've got a goal. We would like to get to the Twitch partner level, and honestly, we're a bit of a ways away from it right now. So the more people that we can get to help out with this, the better off we're going to be. If you aren't yet following us on our Twitch channel, please drop by twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Make sure you got an account, and that only takes a moment. It's free to get an account set up. And then, again, go to twitch.lrn.fm, hit the follow button. And then if you want to really go above and beyond the Call of Duty, just leave your browser window open or leave a tab open to our Twitch channel. That way it's always on, because what we have to do to get to Twitch partner level is hit 75 concurrent viewers over a month's time, basically. And a typical show runs about 15 to 30. So we still not quite halfway there yet. So the more people that we can get to keep their browser window open, the better off we're going to be. Now, just to be clear, leaving your browser window open doesn't mean that you'll count as a viewer. If you're not there, they've got some kind of script that will detect that. But if you are at your computer, then they'll detect that you're there, and then you will be counted as a viewer, and that'll help us get to that next level. And being a Twitch partner means that we can get more exposure on Twitch, and the more exposure we can get on Twitch, the more new people we can bring to the ideas of freedom. So there's a big audience out there on the Twitch platform, millions of people, tending to be, I think, towards the younger side of things on Twitch. I don't know how many elderly folks there are watching Twitch streamers, but we do want to reach new people, and this is a way for us to do it. So we've obviously got, we're very successful on broadcast radio. We've got 194 radio stations coast to coast. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of listeners that equates to over a week's period of time. But we're still pretty small on Twitch, so we could use your help. Just drop by twitch.lrn.fm, hit the follow button, and do us a favor. Just leave that browser window open there and keep it open as long as you can, maybe for the next couple months, if you possibly can. So if you've got a computer at home or at work, that's a good thing that you can do for us. So we'll continue with your calls and thoughts. Ron is on the line. He was calling about this Andrew Yang Gang. The Yang Gang. Now, are these Yang Gang people, is it like a mix of people who honestly support him and people who don't support him? They're just trolling? What is your assessment of this Yang Gang?
So he started the term Yang Gang.
Okay.
And it was just so cheesy. It's like him with a bunch of bros and a picture on social media. And he's like, we're the Yang, hashtag Yang Gang. And it was so cheesy. So everybody kept making fun of it. And they were like, oh, I'm a part of the Yang Gang, but now it's just kind of been adopted. And he's even gotten sort of like the MAGA type of caps, like baseball caps, that say Yang 2020 on.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just hilarious. And then also, Mike Gravel is apparently going to get in, or he's most likely going to get in. Mike Gravel being the former Alaska senator who ran for the Democratic nomination in 2008 and then sought out the Libertarian nomination.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was sort of noteworthy, not because he was in any way really a libertarian, but he did seem to be kind of anti-war, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, he was anti-war. He was best of a bad lot on the Democratic side, but Ron Paul was running on the Republican side, so I didn't have time or energy for Gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's he doing now?
He might be running for president again. So he's 88 years old.
Jesus.
But yeah.
That's even older than Bernie.
Wow.
He is. He's 10 years older. But I guess he's also anti-gun control, too, so that might not hurt him, or that might not help him with Democrats. But I guess the Wall Street Journal...
Well, it helps him with me.
Yeah.
That's the number one issue to me.
Really? Gun control?
Gun control, yeah. No matter what comes, the more guns there are out there, the better.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
The two most important issues to me are being against gun control and being against foreign intervention.
It must be weird to be against gun control and live in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough.
You know, we got a Free State Project going up here. We want your kind.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
Only got to move a few hours to the east. Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Ron. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. I mean, if you're in New York, you are in the 50th least free state, and it's 50th by a mile. Number 49 is way up compared to where number 50 is on that list.
Wouldn't that be the first least free state or the 50th most free state?
No, it wouldn't be the 50th. You're right.
It's
a
glass half full, half
empty.
empty.
It is the least free state is
Correct.
the easiest way to say it.
I wonder if Manhattan accounts for most of that, because like everything that I hear way more just disgusting statist totalitarian crap coming out of California than I ever do from New York. So I'm surprised that California isn't number 50.
Yeah. The thing that would save New York State would be to spawn New York City as a city-state. Let it be the 51st state.
Or just drop a tactical nuke on it and be rid of all our problems.
Well, but Broadway, bro.
No, dude.
The thing is, have you ever chilled in New York City? New York City, from a libertarian point of view, kind of rocks from an agorist point of view, let me say, because everything's illegal and nobody cares.
Well,
that's true. There's wide disobedience in New York City.
They don't care. You can find after-hours clubs. You can find marijuana clubs. You can find sex clubs, prostitution clubs, brothels, drugs.
However, the people there are pretty statist. Even though you can find all that stuff, the people of New York City are notoriously pro-government.
The ones with political power certainly are.
Or the ones who are dependent on state handouts.
And the thing is, but there's a mix. The people who are dependent on state handouts probably don't care about what you do with your personal life. And,
but
personally,
they'll vote for whoever gives them the most
we
money.
talk about welfare queens, but there's a disconnect in that, because these welfare queens, why are they on welfare? They're on welfare
because the government offers free
because
money.
there aren't any jobs, and because they're pursuing rational self-interest. If you're going to give me free money for the rest of my life, I would be stupid to turn that down. From a self-interest point of view, it's only if I'm collectivist that I say I shouldn't abuse the system. If I'm being an individualist, I should say, well, the system is stupid, and therefore, if I can abuse it to my benefit, I'm gonna, I'm going to do bad things to it, give it $40 and jump out the window.
I don't know why you're defending these people. I mean, it's stealing, and also but
it's not stealing. Collecting taxes is stealing.
Well, no, yeah, and they're benefiting from that. They're accepting stolen money.
Well, yeah, but then again, they've also had their liberties stolen. So, you got to figure everybody in America has had liberty of infinite value stolen from them by the government.
Okay, and that
so
sucks.
the government owes them.
I don't support that, but that doesn't justify for bad behavior. And these are the ones that's how they get people. It's called the Democrat plantation, because they keep voting for these politicians who give them free stuff because we're absolutely dependent on it.
Hold that thought, guys. We can come back here in a moment. I love a good disagreement among the co-hosts here, so we can get into it deeper in moments. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733 if you want to join us. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynavite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free and join us here. Our number 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. Are you new to the world of cryptocurrency? Well, the folks over at Bitcoin.com have the Bitcoin Academy, what you can check out when you get a few minutes to learn the basics about Bitcoin and crypto. Get over to Bitcoin.com. You'll find that there, as well as other great features like their news site. The latest news headlines updated multiple times a day, at least daily, over at news.bitcoin.com. They also have a Bitcoin forum where you can engage with the community. Plus, they can help you choose a Bitcoin wallet, buy some Bitcoin, and show you where you can spend it over at bitcoin.com. As we continue, you guys were debating the issue of being a libertarian and accepting welfare or pursuing the acceptance of welfare. And Rich, basically your argument is the government has been screwing people over. They've been destroying their freedoms. What's the big deal if you take a little bit of money back?
Yeah, the bottom line is you have a right to take anything from government at any time because we are at war with the government. And the government, more importantly, is at war with us, whether we like it or not. So to me, everything is a weapon. Okay, so if the enemy throws down an M16 on a battlefield, am I going to keep my AR-15 or am I going to pick up his M16? I'm going to pick up his M16.
But Rich,
even though it was paid for with tax dollars.
But Rich, why do they want? They want people on welfare. They've said back, via what was it?
They want people to vote, and they pay for it by putting people on welfare.
But they want also
if people take the welfare and don't vote Democratic, then that's a loss for them. They're paying for it, but they're not getting their quid pro quo.
But then they become dependent. It's all about dependency. They want as many people dependent on them as possible. It was like some of the mining areas of West Virginia. They refused to accept welfare because of a work ethic, and then finally the economy got so bad because of Obama and all the regulation in the coal industry that they finally started accepting welfare. And then one of the White House czar or whoever was working for the government, they got an award or something, and they said, "What? Yep, we broke mountain pride." So they want people to be on welfare. They're happy that people were going on the dole. So the government wants it because that's the best way they can control people.
If there's anybody out there who is on the dole, then my answer is don't be bought. Take the money, because why not take the money? Otherwise, they're going to turn it into bombs and drop it on Iraq. But don't be bought. Don't let it buy your silence. Don't let it buy your consent. Take their money and use it to fight against the system. In martial arts, they always tell you to use your enemy's energy against him. There's a difference. There is a difference between taking welfare and being bought out and taking welfare as a means of using the enemy's energy against him. So long as you keep sight of what you're doing, I have no moral problem with the latter.
Right, and I can guarantee 99% of welfare recipients don't share that view and will continue happily voting for whoever will provide them with more stuff. That's why it's like the
Rich
whole
isn't saying he's in favor of welfare. I would imagine, Rich, if you could press a button and abolish the program, you would.
Right.
But since it's there, what you're saying is, well, why, if it's otherwise no cost, why not take it? Now, I'm not saying there's no cost because I think there's the obedience cost and they might get a little more involved in your life.
Well, the thing is, it's like if Yang ever got in, we've been talking about Yang. If Yang got in, there was a minimum guaranteed income, that would be groovy for me because I would be an anti-government activist 24 hours a day. Now, eventually, I would destroy that income that I had, but that's okay because my liberty to me is more important than the income.
Right.
So I say take the money, but don't ever let the money become more important to you than winning back your liberty. Use the money to win back your liberty. Donate it to the Libertarian Party.
Because it's not
don't do that. Don't do that. No, buy more ammo and guns. Yeah, don't to any political party. Don't
wait a minute.
give
Wait
them
a
money
minute. I
unless you
want
buy
Libertarians to buy more ammo and guns.
Well, yeah, I'm
the
just
party
saying,
won't
like,
do
unless
that.
you buy like a shirt or something of value from like either a candidate, an organization, or something, just don't just straight up give them money, because you're giving the CEO or the person on top, whoever gets most of that money, just more money to buy a pool.
It makes more sense to buy
well,
drugs and guns.
I mean,
than...
when you donate money to the Church of the Invisible Hand, what you get is I stay alive and I get to keep bringing you quality content.
You
to
didn't
the
say the
extent
Church
that
of the
I do.
Invisible Hand.
You are a worthy...
But it's true of the Libertarian Party as well. They're producing content and they're getting paid for it.
They're controlled opposition.
And their content's not as
well,
principled.
they've got a way bigger audience than I do.
Okay, well,
and
so does CNN.
They need
so
to not be principled. The Libertarian Party should never pretend to be a principled libertarian or to be a principled anarchist organization, because if a principled anarchist organization woke up one morning and discovered that it was a political party, it would shoot itself in the head and cease to exist. So the political party should never claim to be an anarchist organization,
well,
even if it is an organization of anarchists.
Well, it's controlled opposition.
It should be used to move. I don't know that it's controlled. I hope
Who's controlled? Didn't you say the Libertarian
us.
Party is infiltrated by conservatives? Right? You've said that.
Well, it's been infiltrated by everybody.
I think it's been infiltrated by
guess
political
what? If they infiltrate and vote Libertarian, we
liars,
can't have two people talking at once.
And yeah, it's just a total charlatan organization, in my opinion. And it's just controlled opposition. We're not fighting for liberty. We're fighting for their own brand, their own money. And yeah, don't give them any money. Don't support it. At least support like maybe local people that you trust or whatever. But don't give it to that national organization. It's a waste of money.
Let's get back to your calls and thoughts.
It's detrimental to liberty.
We've got Tom. He's in New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
I was just thinking about evolution and how, of course, we are all the product of our ancestors. And,
amen, brother.
Well, you take a look over the centuries, a lot of mothers died in childbirth. And if a guy is 40 years old and his wife dies in childbirth and he's raising this army and he's going to go find another woman to help raise his army or whatever. The guy
is army the term you're using for his family?
Yeah, raising his children.
It's strange.
Okay, the guy who's turned on and excited about a 50-year-old woman marries her, and they don't make any more children, though, because she's too old now.
Right.
Pretty much. But the guy who gets all excited and turned on by a woman who's in her 20s, then they get married, and then they have more children. So, the ancestor pool of ours would be, over the centuries, getting more of these guys who are excited by younger women in our ancestor pool. So it is a very natural thing for guys who are like middle age to be more excited by younger women.
Are you trying to convince yourself or us?
I'm trying to explain.
That's probably true, but then if you're attracted to prepubescent girls, then that would be biologically self-destructive.
That's called being a hebephile.
Not only that, but
that would be a
then
pedophile.
if you don't make a baby,
yeah, prepubescent is pedophile.
Or if she's too old. But the other part is, if guys who would divorce their wife at that age and find somebody who's younger, Mother Nature doesn't care about right and wrong. Mother Nature only cares about how many more babies get
So,
produced.
just to be clear, you're making the argument that men are attracted to younger women.
Well, I'm explaining why.
And you're explaining why.
I think I get it.
There's an evolutionary bias toward men being attracted
because younger
to
means
younger
more
women.
fertile.
That's right.
Younger means more fertile. That's what we talk about the children.
I would have to say young and nubile, because there's a limit to where young ceases to be beneficial and becomes detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Now, the other part of it is that if her body is not capable of producing any milk, then those babies aren't going to thrive unless you can afford a wet nurse. And these babies that die, they're malnourished. The first sign of any kind of epidemic, they're the first ones to go. So guys who get excited.
Well, I mean, you can do formula, right?
Breasts,
No, but that's very detrimental to the child's health, like formula babies versus like breastfeeding.
That's what they say, yeah.
Well, yeah, because breastfeeding, it's natural. It has all the immune boosting functions compared to formula. It's like you can't raise a lamb on formula. You have to raise it on actual lamb's milk. Otherwise, it'll get too sick and weak and die.
Tom, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. The toll-free number here if you want to join us.
Same thing with babies.
855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number, 855-450-3733. We also have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. They're open and available to you if you want to jump in. Do that, and you'll sound really good, almost like you're sitting here with us. Go to discord.lrn.fm. It's Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio. Take control of the airwaves toll free at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. By the way, I want to say thanks to Save a Horse, who is a Free Talk Live silver amplifier. Save a Horse, and I'm not sure off the top of my head whether that is a male or female, but that is the name that they wanted used on the air. And silver means $5 a month. That means they're contributing $5 a month, maybe via PayPal, credit card, or Bitcoin BTC over to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. Just go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can get signed up there, and you'll get access to some special bonuses, some perks for you as an amplifier, and we certainly appreciate it. It makes a big difference for us when you become an amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. And again, you get some cool perks, and you can see how we're spending the money there over at amp.freetalklive.com. As we continue here, let's see here. We had all this other news to talk about. The DSA was brought up earlier tonight by one of our callers, Vincent, and I did ask you to pull up your related show prep on that. DSA standing for the Democratic Socialists of America?
Yes.
And I guess Bernie Sanders is in a bit of a spat with them, or what's going on?
Well, the title, this is from Vox.com, which is a left-wing propaganda outlet, but it's titled, Bernie Sanders' reparations comments caused rift over DSA endorsement. And the subhead here is, Democratic Socialists of America endorsed Sanders on Thursday, despite pushback from some members over his comments on reparations.
Reparations being the idea that certain groups of people believe they're owed money because of atrocities that might have happened to their relatives who are dead.
Yes, in this case, African Americans or certain ones, wanting believing that they deserve slavery reparations from white people.
And so the Democratic Socialists are split over this, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it goes in here. I'll just begin right away. So the Democratic Socialists of America have endorsed Bernie Sanders' campaign for president despite some consternation within the organization regarding his comments on reparations. The DSA announced its Sanders endorsement on Thursday evening after a meeting of its National Political Committee. The decision was widely anticipated, but there was a wrinkle. The group's Afro-Socialist and Socialist of Color Caucus, a section within the organization focused on race and people of color, had asked the 16-member committee to withhold its endorsement of Sanders over his stance on reparations. The independent Vermont senator...
Which is to say he's against them.
It goes on here. The independent Vermont senator has declined to back reparations for the descendants of slaves in the United States, arguing that broader anti-poverty programs will help address inequality. And that's not clear what the term means. So he's basically favoring one system.
He wants welfare for everybody.
Well, one system of wealth redistribution over the other. That's more explicit. DSA's members have previously voted 76% to 24% to endorse Sanders in a poll conducted by the organization's leadership this month.
Which, by the way, is not a lot of people. There are not a lot of people in the DSA, even though they have had numbers growing. Their membership numbers have come up significantly since Trump got into office, but it's still, I think, only like 50 or 60,000.
I'd say also it has to do with the fact that so many people are going to college now, and there's all these just openly Marxist professors that I see.
But there's always been openly Marxist
but
professors.
not every. Yeah, but well, I mean, beginning
it
from the
hasn't been exclusively openly Marxist. I mean, there was a time
it's still
when,
not exclusive.
Well, no, it's mainly Marxist professors, and also more people are going to college now because like everyone needs to go, right? That's
no, they don't.
No, that's what they tell people in the public schools, right?
Them, yeah.
So I'm just saying, after all these years of public school indoctrination, daycare, even from daycare indoctrination, kindergarten, all the way up to college. So I think it's entirely feasible that the Democratic Socialists of America become a major third party in the United States in a similar way that the New Democratic Party is a major socialist or more socialist third party in Canada, or Labour is in the UK. That's just my prediction.
See, I don't know. I expect these kids to grow out of socialism the same way they grew out of Santa Claus. Eventually they find out it's a myth. Now, it's more difficult for them to find out it's a myth now because they're in a situation which is mostly socialist, a university, and it's an area where incredible amounts of money are being pumped into it in the form of student loans. So it looks pretty good. But when they're out in the world working, I think things are going to change.
Well, but you also have a bunch of geezers like in Vermont who still believe in socialism. You have I can't tell you how many boomers believe in socialism. And with these people,
if you look at the belief in socialism versus age, people do tend to age out of it.
Well, I mean, I haven't looked at that, so I can't
just
speak
the
to it.
difference between generations.
What I think is different about this, let's say millennials, right, with all the college debt, is that there's going to be, socialists are going to take advantage of that by saying they need to have, by offering debt amnesty, or some sort of wealth redistribution,
right.
or whatever.
So those of you who didn't go to college get to pay for the college of those who did.
Exactly. Right. So the socialists are providing a huge incentive for millennial college students to support them.
But a lot of the millennials were never college students, so that's also a huge disincentive for the people who were millennial and not college students to say,
what portion?
I'm going to pay for these kids who went to school. What portion?
Yeah, what portion of millennials didn't go to college?
The ones who didn't go to college.
I know. I'm just curious as to. I'm not expecting
I don't know
you to
what
know.
the demographics of that group is, but I know that there are millennials who didn't go to college.
Well, of course there are.
Here we go.
But,
NBC News, April 4th, 2018, poll. Majority of millennials are in debt, hitting pause major life event. So maybe it's not all credit card debt and student loans. So they say most of them, according to this poll, right, are in debt. I'd say you're more likely to be in college, student loan debt, because they're bigger and you can't declare bankruptcy of that compared to credit card debt. So I stand by most
there's
millennials.
A certain, the thing is, credit card debt and student loan debt are not the same thing. To say that the majority of millennials are in debt is not to say that the majority of millennials have graduated college. There's also the people who go to college and don't graduate. Although, of course, they would benefit from student loan forgiveness.
So it is going to be kind of interesting to see, what happens this time around to the Democrats as far as, last time there was that controversy between Sanders and Hillary Clinton where it turned out that Hillary Clinton was cheating during the Democratic primary. Now, she hasn't thrown in yet, has she, into this?
Oh, she's been flip-flopping a lot. She says she won't and then says, never say never. So we're unsure. She's such a dishonest person.
She may be waiting to see who else jumps in. But there's a large field of candidates from what I understand thus far. And, of course, they're all going to be attacking one another. And so it's probably going to get pretty ugly. It should be interesting to see if there are further schisms, because there was talk during the last election on both the Democrat and the Republican sides that the election was going to create, schisms within the Democrat and the Republican Party. Like the people who are anti-Trump were supposed to be splitting off from the Republicans, but it looks like they've fallen into line. And the Democrats, of course, have also fallen into line.
Well, political power is almost irresistible. People always say that libertarians talk about what's bad and they never talk about what to substitute for it. Well, student loans, Milton Friedman had a great idea in terms of substitute. And what it was companies could pay for students to go to school. And
some do.
And afterwards, he was talking about like insurance companies or somebody who had mathematical analysts and actuaries to do the calculations, but basically the insurance company would pay for the student to go to school and then would, after the student got out of school, get a portion of their earnings thereafter. And that way you don't have to pay for your schooling before you're able to earn money, but the incentives on that insurance company would be don't pay for the education of students who are going into feminist dance theory
right.
because feminist dance theory isn't going to make any money.
Pay
we
for
don't want a
useful-
percentage of your waitressing tips.
Right. Pay for useful
Exactly.
careers.
Pay for things that are going to make you money because what you're giving them the money for is a cut of their future earnings. So you have to maximize their future earnings.
Do those models
That's
not
the way
exist
to pay
today?
for this.
Do those models don't exist
no,
at
because
all?
the government deals with it. The government does.
They guarantee
and
anyone
also
alone.
there's not it's I don't know that has ever been tried, but if you look back as far as the 70s, Friedman was writing about it in Capitalism and Freedom.
So coming up, I want to get back into this story that we started the show out with, and we haven't been back to it. This article by a former lieutenant governor of New York State. It's appearing in the New York Post, so this is being read presumably by a lot of people. And this lady, whose name is Betsy McCaughey, is saying that...
Oh, my God, Betsy.
She's saying that there's a brutal downside of legal pot, and we're going to get into this prohibitionist tripe here in moments. Hour number 3 is on the way. You're also welcome to join us. In this next paragraph that we haven't gotten to yet, it's pretty surprising. What's about to be said. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We got Hour 3 next, and you can join us here on Free Talk Live.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The Free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. TheMorganReport.com. TheMorganReport.com. Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free if you want to join us here on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. And if you want to join us off the radio, well, stay tuned after this hour of the show. After we're done with the radio show, we finish at 10 o'clock Eastern Time every single night. And by the way, we are live all 7 nights a week. But tonight we're going to be doing a Free Talk Live after show. We call it Freer Talk Live because, well, you are more free to say things that you can't say on the radio when you're on Freer Talk Live. So you can join us on our Twitch channel. That's where it will exclusively appear, over at twitch.lrn.fm. So please do that. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And Rich Paul.
Earlier tonight, we started an opinion piece from the New York Post written by a former lieutenant governor there in New York, Betsy McCaughey, and she is on the warpath against legal marijuana. She is not happy about this idea.
Oh, my God, Betsy.
Yep, and she is trotting out as many fear-based, fear-mongering stories as possible. And then she gets into this shocker here. The Detroit NAACP has now come out against legalization. Insisting
Seriously?
Yeah. That's what it's shocking.
Good Lord.
It's shocking. Insisting marijuana is a way to hold minorities, quote, in bondage. The Reverend Horace Sheffield of the Detroit Association of Black Organizations asked, quote, how do I tell young people about the dangers of drugs if it's now legal? Unquote.
How do you tell people about the dangers of sex or blasphemy or anything else that's against your religion?
That's already legal.
That isn't illegal,
Yeah. Well,
you idiot.
Well, I mean, it's probably one of these actually, no, I'm not gonna comment on what sort of preaching the guy's doing, but if there's nothing in the Bible that talks about illegalizing a plant or something. It talks about it's important to stay sober minded, right? But it doesn't say anything about the war on drugs. It doesn't say anything about the dangers of it's just the dangers
as a matter of fact,
excess,
quite
of drunkenness.
The opposite. The Rastas like to point out that God gave all the seeding plants of the earth to mankind to use.
Well, but I'm assuming this
Genesis.
guy's like a mainline Christian, or quote mainline Christian, like an evangelical.
Well, this is all in the Bible, though. This is all in Genesis.
Oh no, yeah, I don't
Mankind
disagree.
is given dominion over all the flowering and
all the animals.
seed-bearing plants of the world and all that, and that includes ganja.
So one of the reasons why this is crazy is because historically, as I understand it, the NAACP has been in favor of cannabis legalization because the war on drugs certainly targets blacks. I mean, you could argue that they target minorities more so than they target whites, but regardless, there's definitely plenty of black people who've been arrested for possession of marijuana, and now here you have, at the very least, Detroit, and maybe Detroit is a schism group from the rest of the NAACP.
I hope so,
because I can find here a story from late last year where the NAACP in New Jersey was holding a forum on legalization. So it may be that some NAACP people have split away and have decided they wanted to go against legalization. But it's a shocker, man, to say that the NAACP in Detroit is against legalization.
Yeah,
that's apparently the case.
I'll tell you what, if you're in New Jersey, check out the NJ Weedman.
Heck yeah,
and
he's
his
great.
temple. He rocks.
He's out of prison now, too, as I understand.
Yeah, he's out of prison. He's back in control of his temple. He's
excellent.
He's doing this thing, sell weed like I was a Caucasian, because his big thing is that the regulated market is racist. And whether or not it is even, of course, a regulated market can be racist if the regulators are racist. And I think it is that regulatory scheme, like all regulatory scheme, is tilted against all of the people who are not what George Carlin would call members of the club. It's a big club, and you and I are not in it.
Well, legalization disenfranchises independent African-American drug dealers, so that's probably
it has the same impact on white drug dealers.
Right.
It
disenfranchises those who can't afford the licensing process.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's
but
discriminatory,
that's not legalization. It's the licensing process that's a problem.
Well, that's true, but generally legalization contains the idea of regulation. If it weren't, if it didn't have regulation, it wouldn't be so much legalization as it would be depenalization, right? Where you just simply make the thing not illegal anymore.
Well, it depends. If you completely repealed the laws against that would be legalization.
It would be.
But the thing is, they still call it legalization if it's a legalization and regulation bill.
Well,
so people assume that legalization means legalization and regulation, but legalization does not imply regulation.
It depends.
Most straightforward way to legalize the thing is just repeal every law that contains the word marijuana. That's legalization. That's real legalization.
And I'll add, while Ian's looking up the definition, when Ian first gave the title of his article,
definition is to make something formerly illegal legal.
Right, but to make something legal, you could argue requires that it be regulated. You could argue that. I don't know if it's true.
I was just going to say, I assumed when Ian read the headline, I assumed that what the person, the Betsy, the author, would be talking about was saying like how, corporations are going to ruin weed. We're going to turn GMO legal weed. It's going to be, used with pesticides and stuff. That's what I assumed, right? I'm surprised that people are still on. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, which is why, legalization isn't exactly, the best thing, especially over regulations. But I'm so surprised that like people still think, well, I shouldn't be surprised, but that people are still using those same tired arguments that she's using.
Yep. Well, there's more coming
beyond
up.
This, at least.
No, there's more coming up here. So we're going to get into it. But first, let's go to your calls and thoughts. We do have Dave in New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, gentlemen.
Hey, go ahead. What's on your mind?
Well, have you guys reported on the Mike Sylvia case?
I have, actually. I wrote an article about it on freekeen.com a little while back. I think it was sometime in 2018. Let me see if I can recap from memory what it was that transpired. Mike Sylvia is a libertarian activist. He became a state representative. He's a longtime Free Talk Live listener and supporter. Just a great guy.
Sylvia rocks.
Yeah, he's awesome. And in fact, he won the Legislator of the Year award last year from the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. So he not only did he get an A+ rating, but he was the top of all the A+ rated state representatives for Liberty. So just an overall great Liberty activist up here.
Go Mike.
And they targeted him. The town that he lives in, which I believe is called Belmont, if I recall correctly, they came after him because they were alleging that he was illegally living in his garage. And they have like a zoning thug who apparently is trying to, or like has been scoping out his property, like staking him out.
Legalized stalking.
And watching as he, apparently what happened was he bought a piece of property a couple of years ago or a few years ago that he got at a good price because the home on the property had burned down. And so there was a garage that still remained. It was not burned down. Home burned down, garage was still there. So he parked an RV on the property, and they were claiming that he was illegally living either both in the garage or in the RV, but when it got cold...
Was the RV in the garage?
No.
Oh, okay.
RV was outside, and
because I've considered doing that, parking an RV in a garage and living in it during the winter.
Yeah, as long as you don't have a dirty zoning thug coming down on you. And apparently, this guy was staking him out and watching as, I don't know if he even saw him go into the garage, but he saw saw tracks in the snow leading to the garage, and if I recall, saw smoke coming from a chimney in the garage, which to this zoning bureaucrat was evidence that he was living in the garage, and therefore, according to the town of Belmont, that's illegal. And the real icing on the cake...
It sounds like he was in the garage and he was living, so he was living in the garage.
Well, we don't know.
But that doesn't necessarily mean he's residing in the garage.
I think this proves just how domesticated people are, that they're willing to be okay with a government that has laws telling people that they can't live on their own legally
owned
outrageous
property.
Oh, absolutely.
Under common law, these people could be hanged.
Is it safer for him to be homeless
in the
to
wintertime?
live where he's living? No, it's not.
So, and the real killer, and Dave, I see you may have an update on this, so stand by. We'll bring you back here, because I have not heard, if there's an update on this, I haven't heard about it yet. So they're coming, and they've been coming after him, and he's been fighting it. He's going to take it to court and all that, from what I understand. So we'll get the latest from Dave here in moments on that. It's Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. Toll-free number for you if you want to join us. 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Hop into any one of those. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. I'm Ian.
I'm Vincent.
I'm Rich Paul.
Forkfest 2019 is coming up in 3 months from now. Actually, a little less than 3 months from now at this point. June 13th through the 18th at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Let me tell you, people are already getting their campsites reserved. I'm in the Forkfest chat room, which you can access over at forkfest.party, and they've been posting maps of the campground and highlighting where people are going to be camping out.
Yeah.
So
and it's so early. I'm surprised there's that much.
Today.
Sorry, I can't hear you both when you're talking at the same time.
I'm just going to say, people must be really excited, because it's people usually, in my experience, hate planning things ahead of time. But there's a lot of discussion in there for it being months away. So yeah. I see that as a really good sign.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
So head over to forkfest.party. That's where you can connect with the Telegram chat room or the Forkfest forum, or both. And what is Forkfest? Well, it's a liberty-oriented, decentralized camping festival. Now, you've heard of an unconference. Have you heard of an unconference before?
No.
So, unconference is where you get people together at a hotel, and then there's no schedule. Basically, the stage is open.
Sort of like Anarchapulco, right?
It's a gathering.
That's not like that. Anarchapulco isn't like that at all.
It's all scheduled?
Yeah, everything's scheduled there. But this is kind of like an unconference, but in the woods. So where nothing is particularly scheduled, but anything anybody wants to schedule, they can schedule, because you can just do whatever it is you want to do on your own campsite. So, you want to have a poker game, bring a table and set it up. You want to have a musical event, bring in some amplifiers or whatever instruments you need and set it up. And you can advertise it, of course, on the Forkfest forum or on the chat room, or both, I'd recommend. Rich, I heard that somebody's going to create a Facebook event for this. I don't know if that was you or somebody else who volunteered for that, but somebody did, I think. And so people are doing these things, right? Everybody just kind of does whatever it is they think is the best thing to do. And that could just be show up and have a good time. Just showing up counts. The more people that show up, the better the event, I think, is going to be. So learn more at forkfest.party and mark it on your calendar, June 13th through the 18th. And you should probably contact Rogers Campground sooner rather than later to book your campsite. As I understand it, they're open limited hours. I think it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if they're not there when you call, just leave your contact info and they'll call you back. And then you can lock down either your RV site or your campsite, or a hotel room if you prefer to stay in the motel.
I really hope there's a bar again this year. The Agorist drinking fountain rocked, and then PorkFest shut it down. Well, we don't have any central organization, so if you're running a bar on your site, nobody has any responsibility for that but you.
Yep. I'm very looking forward to it. And, as people who listen to my show know, I'm very misanthropic and shy. I never go out to these events, and I'm excited for it. So I think that should say something.
Very cool. Forkfest.party. We continue with Dave in New Hampshire, who is Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. I think you've been promoting Forkfest on the Ridley Report. Am I right about that, Dave?
Yeah, Forkfest.party. It's going to be a party.
Now, are you going to come out this year? Because I know you couldn't make it last year.
I don't know yet. That's in June, right?
Yeah, June 13th through the 18th.
Yeah.
Wait, so you definitely know? Oh, you're saying it's possible. Okay, good. Well, I'll hope that we'll get to see you out at Forkfest. Now, you were calling about Mike Sylvia, who's a libertarian activist. He actually registered as a Republican, ran successfully, got elected, and has been reelected a couple. I think he's on his third term right now. So he's been reelected multiple times as a very principled, liberty-oriented person in the state house. He's been targeted. Mike. Yeah, he's great. He's been targeted by the town of Belmont, where he lives, because they're alleging that he's been living in his garage or in an RV. Either way, they're claiming that's not legal, and they went after him in court late last year, but that's the last I heard an update on this case, Dave. What's the latest?
So 3 things. First of all, I guess the Laconia Sun was reporting this is actually, he's a 4-term representative.
Oh, okay.
Apparently. And I believe he was elected as a write-in.
Maybe the first time, but go ahead.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I guess now the town has decided what they want to do to Mike Sylvia as punishment for this, and they want to relieve him of $150,000.
What?
Good Lord.
Is this like a per day, like a $500 a day fine for the last several years or something? I mean, how do they come about that number?
That I don't know. They did report that the trial, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, will be on June 24th.
Okay, so when I first reported on this, which if you look at freekeen.com, just search for Mike Sylvia, and you'll find the story. It was back in September, and there was going to be a court hearing. At that time, the town of Belmont wanted some kind of preliminary injunction against Mike, and I never heard what happened in that court hearing. Do you happen to know if they got an injunction against him, or what the status is of that?
No, I don't know. Everything I know is just coming from, I guess, a couple of Facebook posts I've seen and the Laconia Sun article. But it's kind of neat that actually...
Hold on, just to clarify, Dave, is this Laconia Sun article new? Is this like breaking, or is... Because I don't see it.
I don't remember checking the date. It seemed to me like it was a week or 2 old.
Okay.
And it was interesting in Laconia. There's one of the few places left in America, it seems like, where there really are 2 competing newspapers. Huh. And the Sun is actually sort of the indie, alternative newspaper. And I see stuff from them a lot. They really do good watchdogging, but it's fair, journalism, objective looking. And they're just a minor, there's the mainstream paper there too. So it's nice to have them there. And I guess someone I guess I once accidentally emailed the Citizen, the other paper or something like that, confused one with the other. I guess the editor of the main paper just got absolutely beside himself that I had confused his paper with the Sun. So they must be doing something right.
So, just curious, what is the article called on the Laconia Sun? Because I'm looking here and I don't see anything that's particularly fresh.
Let me see if I can find the title.
If you get a chance, maybe send it to me in an email if it wasn't right. I was just figured it might be right in front of you there. There's an article about...
It's getting there. If you can stall for 30 seconds, I can find it.
Well, there's an article on the Sun that is circa January of this year, but that's all about... his fellow Republicans that are going against him on something, but that doesn't seem to have really anything to do with his property situation. That said, I'm very interested in seeing how this turns out, because this is clearly a property rights violation on the town's part. if you have an RV, you ought to be able to live in the damn RV on your own property. I mean, it's outrageous. If you have a garage, you ought to be able to live in a garage on your own property. I mean, it's sick. These town bureaucrats who think they own you and own everything that you think that you have. The fact is, if they're successful at this, it'll be clear once again that they do own us and they do own the property, and it's sick.
And these are the things that keep people homeless. I mean, if we didn't violate the right to homestead by monopolizing all the unowned land, and we didn't have building codes saying you can't build a house unless it's good enough for us, then there would be no homelessness in America.
I hope he defends his property tooth and nail.
Hey, Dave, if you found it, spit it out. Otherwise, we got to scram. We got more coming up here. We got to get to some more calls, and I appreciate you being there. That's Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. If we hear more on this Sylvia case, we're definitely going to let you know. There's more coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? One? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free to bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just head on over to discord.lrn.fm. Jump into one of those. We'll get you on the air here with us. It's Ian, Vincent, and Rich in the studio, and I want to make sure that you know about our forum. You can interact with other Free Talk Live listeners over at forum.lrn.fm. That's forum.lrn.fm. Yeah, I know, forums. People don't go there anymore, and it's true. There aren't that many people that go there, but it's great. It really is a nice piece of software, and it works very, very well. And there are some conversations that are happening there. So if you enjoy a good forum, this is a darn good one.
Does the FBI have direct access to your database?
I hope not.
Okay, good, because they do on Facebook. That's a good reason for using
And I was going to ask,
forum.
how much censorship do you do on the forum?
No spam, no racism. So, there you go.
All right, so it sounds pretty. Well, I wonder if I don't know. Facebook has that sounds pretty vague as Facebook's, but I guess only time will tell if you end up being like that. Twitter.
Ian is not heavy on the
moderation.
The moderation hand. I can guarantee you that.
So then it'll be better than Facebook then.
Yeah. Hey, let's continue with your calls here, and then we can talk more about this ridiculous anti-marijuana propaganda in the New York Post. But first, Felix is on the line in New Hampshire. Felix, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
All right, so about 3 weeks ago, I went for my annual physical. Everything's fine, by the way. Thank you for
Okay.
Congratulations. Very good.
Kudos.
I was talking to my doctor about the fact that I use cannabis habitually.
Cannabis, okay.
I disclose everything. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Weed. Anyway, I told him that I wish that I could get on the medical marijuana program. I'm in New Hampshire, by the way.
Excellent.
And they have that here, but you got to jump through some crazy hoops. And the hospital that I go to, I thought that they actually didn't even have it there. But he corrected me and said, "Oh no, we've been doing it for years." And so, long story short, he gave me the therapeutic cannabis program. I have right here in front of me the certificate for the therapeutic use of cannabis. It's like the application. But it's just been sitting here on my desk for like 3 weeks because as I was looking through everything, I noticed, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this, the ATF open letter to...
Yes.
I was about to ask about that.
No, what is it? To who? ATF open letter to who?
Gun owners.
Okay, so it's called Open Letter to All Federal Firearms Licensees.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's a one page. I'm not going to read it. It's so boring. But actually, I'll give you a quote on one of them. It says, "An inference of current use may be drawn from evidence of a recent use or possession of a controlled substance or pattern of use of possession that reasonably covers the present time. That's why I'm not going to read the whole thing, but long story short, if you own guns or ammo, if you're in possession of them and you go through with this medical marijuana program, and you have the card, it will be illegal federally for you to possess any firearm or ammo. Yeah,
that sucks.
So I'm just sitting here with this thing, and it'd be so nice to get off from the black market and go to a store and purchase my.
Here's a question I have for you about this. So I know that when the New Hampshire medical program came into being, that it wasn't covering as many things, as many conditions as people would have liked. And I know that they have expanded it since then, and I believe chronic pain was added to the list. Did they give you a list of qualifying conditions?
Yes, they did, and so I should have clarified that. So I mentioned that I'm pretty healthy, but I do have a really bad back, and I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
And when it's bad, it's bad. When it's not, it's nothing. It's no big deal. But when it's bad, it's like super bad. So I fit into what the doctor actually referred to as the gray area. But yeah,
really?
I do qualify.
What is the gray area? I mean, what is the name for that?
I think it just means like chronic pain.
So it is on the list then. Chronic pain. I wasn't sure. I thought I'd heard that they'd passed, because again, like I said, they've been expanding it. So I thought I'd heard that chronic pain was included. So I'm glad to hear that that's on there now.
Do you know if they include opiate addiction yet?
Ooh, that'd be a good one too.
I don't know. You know what? I got the check box here right in front of me, and I can tell you what it says. The one he checked for me.
Because
one or more injuries or conditions that has resulted in one or more qualifying symptoms listed below. And then that one that he checked this box. It says severe pain that has not responded to previously prescribed medication or surgical measures. So,
does it include like depression or anxiety or anything? I'm curious about that.
Severe persistent muscle spasms, wasting syndrome, seizures. These are other checkboxes.
Seizures. I'm glad to hear seizures are on there. I've known people that have been very helped by cannabis oil.
There's 6 more. There's 6 more short ones if you want to hear.
Yeah, go ahead. Just rattle them off.
Alzheimer's disease.
Alzheimer's is on there? Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, Alzheimer's is on there. Okay, I'm not even going to try this one. CACHEXIA.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. Chemotherapy-induced anorexia, constant or severe nausea, elevated intraocular pressure, and moderate to severe vomiting. So that's interesting. If you vomit a lot, apparently you can get on the.
Interesting.
It definitely works for anti-nausea. Like I could testify to that.
Hey, bro, do you know about the 420 rally?
Is that up in at Rogers as well?
No,
it's going to be in Concord,
State House,
April 20th. Where we come out every year and we smoke on the steps of the State House, and
all 3 of us are going to be there.
There's more than 3. Oh yeah, all 3 of us.
I mean, the 3 of us are going to be there, but there's going to be hundreds of other people there if we do it right.
It's going to be great, man. You should go. Would love to have you
Felix,
there.
thanks for the call tonight. I mean, definitely a lot of people have this concern, and I don't know what's going to fix it for folks besides seceding from the United States, because they're not going to abolish the ATF anytime soon.
I know you guys aren't lawyers and you can't give advice or whatever, but I'm just curious, in your opinion, would you go through with it or would you stick to the black market? Because in my opinion, my partner, he wants me to go through with it.
It's a good question.
Of course, he has a bias. He wants to be able to go to the dispensary.
Well,
if the state still recognized my right to keep and bear arms, I would not get a medical marijuana card, because I would want to keep it that way. And so I would rather break the law than give them a reason to take away my right to keep and bear.
Let me add one more thing, too. Like I said, my partner, he will be able to go to the dispensary for me as a, quote, caregiver if I go through with this. So I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit I could throw in.
If you keep 21 grams or less around, it's not even a crime.
It's a violation.
It's a violation.
Like
it's like a parking ticket. So you're probably better off, and
staying off the list.
And if you actually need it for medical or spiritual purposes, talk to me at the church. I'll find somebody.
I'll just go ahead.
The thing with me is I like the cartridges. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen those things.
Those are hard to get, on the black market.
Press the button to
not
get
really.
high.
They're not hard to get. But so you wanted to answer?
I just want to answer.
Yeah, but I did have to go to the black market to get them last time, and I got a ton of them and they're just for personal use. I wasn't distributing, but I don't want to give out too much information, but it was sketchy.
Vincent, what would you do?
I was
Go ahead.
brought on this deal.
I wouldn't. I've been faced with that decision. I thought very hard about it, and I wouldn't want to give up my right to defend myself and bear arms just so I could have easier access to something that the state will probably, for whatever reason, still punish me for having any. And so it's just not worth it. I value being able to defend myself more than the ability to deal with my medical illness.
Felix, I would recommend you check out the dark net. There are all kinds of interesting ways to get all kinds of interesting things without having sketchy situations. I thank you for the call tonight, and maybe we'll see you at the 420 in Concord next month. All right, we're coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number, 855-450-FREE. Moments remain in this radio edition of Free Talk Live. But coming up on our Twitch feed over at twitch.lrn.fm, we will have the internet-only Freer Talk Live that you can tune into, and then we can say certain things that we're not allowed to say on broadcast radio. So once again, that's twitch.lrn.fm. Make sure you follow us there, and if you don't mind, leave your browser window open 24/7 if you can. If you got a computer that's on 24/7, leave the browser tuned to twitch.lrn.fm, and that'll help us get one person closer to our goal of being a Twitch partner.
Now, what about people who went to cam.freetalklive.com? Will they also see the after show?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, they will.
Because that's where I've been directing people. So
and also, LRN.FM has a cam built into the front page there, so they'll also see it. So, yeah, that's the Twitch channel.
Okay. So. Discordia is probably a better experience, though.
Discord?
Discord.
There's no video there.
Oh, there's no video there?
No. Discord is an audio platform, basically.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking Twitch.
Twitch is
all
our video
these new
platform.
Platforms are piling up in my mind. There's so many of them.
It is true. There's no doubt about that. So, Twitch, that's a little bit of talk back there. Bad Slave, you're going to need to mute whatever it is that you're listening to, because we're going to get to you here in just a moment. I accidentally just put you on the air. So we're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. You can bring up what you want. If we get the chance, we'll finish up this propaganda, this anti-cannabis propaganda from a former lieutenant governor of New York. And we're going to go to the phones first, though. We've got Sarah in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yes. I was told that we do have a Hindu temple now here in Albuquerque.
You didn't have one before?
Yes. Well, we've always had a Buddhist meditation centers, like two of them that I knew about, and the
that's
Hindu
different.
Temple,
yeah,
it's different, and so I'm really interested, and so I really want to go find out and go to some of their services.
Well, that's very open-minded of you.
Well, you know what? I used to visit most of the Hare Krishna temples in West Virginia, Honolulu, Boston. I used to go to one in Boston.
Now, are you seeking
Christian temples?
Wait, did you say Christian temple?
Oh, well, Orthodox Christian do call their meeting places temples, I think.
So are you kind of looking for a place in the world as far as a religious viewpoint, Sarah? Are you assessing the different religions out there and trying to figure out which one fits you best? Is that what you're up to?
Well, you know, the thing is I love being at the temple. There's a spiritual vibe there. And I really am convinced the food, the prasadam, is especially blessed. And a lot of people become like...
They offered free food there. That's why Sarah went. I can guarantee it. It was free stuff, and, churches do it all the time, so I don't doubt that these temples are going to do it, too.
Have you checked out the Church of the Invisible Hand yet?
No, I'm saying is that it's a blessing.
She doesn't have the internet.
God. They pray over it with a bell. So what I'm saying
Or go to
is that
Faithful
people
Word
get,
Baptist Church. That's a good one. That's in Arizona, not too far from there.
Well, what I'm saying is this food, the vegetarian food, is very special because you become addicted. A lot of people become devotees. It actually has a special energy.
I can tell you one thing about vegetarian food is I've never felt like I could ever become addicted to it. I mean, there's some of it some of it I've had that has been good. Like some of it's been surprisingly good, but I've never been like, I got to have that again.
Meat is murder. Tasty, delicious, juicy murder.
Food is blessed. It's been played over. People become addicted.
Anybody can.
It's like she says it's addictive, right? It's like they put MSG or something in it.
Well, she says it's blessed, is what she says. She says they've prayed over it.
Well, maybe it's like that.
Then it wouldn't need to be addictive.
meeting.
Then,
sorry, one at a time, please.
Go ahead, Rich.
Oh, it's reminding me of Chappelle's NA meeting donuts. Can you sprinkle a little cocaine on the donuts for us? We're trying to wean them off a little bit.
You guys never ate prashadam.
No, I don't think I have.
If you eat it constantly,
how do you spell that?
You would want to go to the temple all the time and become devotees.
No, I would certainly not. No, I could guarantee you I wouldn't just by.
Well, they say the way
food.
to a man's heart is through his stomach, Sarah. So you might be onto something there. Thanks for the call.
Gluttony.
Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, I've had some delicious Muslim foods as well when I was going over to...
How do you know the food was Muslim?
Well, it was made by Muslims.
No, is there a recipe in the Quran, Ian? Is the recipe of how to make it in the Quran?
No.
Or was it okay? All right, so maybe it's like
it's just cultural.
They call. I mean, it's like, or maybe you're getting ethnic mixed up because they say there's like ethnic food, like there's no.
I'm just saying it was
Buddhist
made by
food.
Muslims. That's all.
So is Chinese food Buddhist food then?
If it was made by Buddhists.
So like if an atheist made the same exact dish, would it still be Muslim food, Ian? Or would it be maybe ethnic food?
It would not. It would be ethnic food.
But it's the same thing. So okay, all right. Anyways, it's much ado about nothing. Let's continue.
Yeah,
anyway,
different people identify with different groups. There are religious ethnic foods, for example, kosher food. Halal is certainly
it's just prepared
Muslim.
a certain way, yeah.
But it's prepared based on a religious code.
Well, I mean,
so that does, I guess, make it. I mean,
that
if
would
you're
make
a Muslim,
you
get a different diet when you're in jail. So I guess it would be.
That's
different.
true.
Well, but like well, never mind. It's not worth arguing.
Toll-free number if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. We go to Bad Slave. He's on the line in New Hampshire on our Discord server. Go ahead, Bad Slave.
Hi, Ian.
Hey, what's on your mind?
Vincent and the other guy.
Rich Paul. That's us. You've named us now. Go ahead.
You don't know who I am,
I'm surprised
bro?
you recognize me, but not
You don't
Rich.
remember me?
Real quickly, Mike Sylvia did have a hearing recently, I don't know, last week or two. And his hearing, I guess, denied his motion to dismiss. And that they're going forward with the jury trial.
Oh, wow.
So it's a big deal.
I'm going to need to find out when that is, because I would like to attend.
Yeah.
I definitely want to be out there, and I think we should be out there with a lot of people. And if they do take that land, I think we should be out there with a lot of people.
So the other thing is, I have to keep bringing this up that when the federal government interferes, because almost every interference from the feds to the states. Hello?
We're right here.
We're here.
Every interference from the feds to the states are usually unconstitutional actions. Are not authorized by the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And, as a result, I mean, the 9th and 10th Amendments deal with these things directly and effectively. And all we have to do is, notify the feds. I actually think that there's a permission process that gets generated by the feds to actually do anything inside the state of New Hampshire.
Do you want to let the listeners know? I don't know what the 9th and 10th Amendments do. I can paraphrase them from memory.
Yeah, only
I don't
like
know if you can.
25% of the population knows what they are.
It's basically saying that that the listing in the Bill of Rights is in fact not all inclusive, and that any other
let me do it, bro.
You might be
the 9th Amendment says that the enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights shall not be held to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And it's important that it's retained by the people, because that means they had these rights before. And also it's important because it refers back to the Declaration of Independence enumeration of rights, which is life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm. We still got those too, and those are broad rights. The 10th Amendment says, and this one I have to paraphrase, that any power which is not delegated to the federal government by the Constitution is reserved to the states or to the people. So basically, for the federal government, all which is not mandatory is prohibited.
And we're never going to redress that. We're never going to let that be addressed through the legal means, which is why I think, it's the only way we could stop this federal government from doing illegal things is to do what the Romans did to Carthage, to Washington, D.C.
And that's why we need AR-15s.
I think we should just see secession happen. That would be a lot easier and more peaceful. Hey, thanks, Bad Slave, for the call tonight. If you are out there and you want to check out our after show, it's called Freer Talk Live, head over now to twitch.lrn.fm, and we will see you there in just a matter of minutes. Otherwise, tomorrow night, we'll join you over at freetalklive.com between now and then.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealestate.com